This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast. My name is Allison and I will be your host for today's podcast. We have some very special guests with us today. We are covering Child Abuse Prevention Month, and specifically our topic today is the Parents as Teachers program. So with us we have Maribel Galvan, Carl Coble, and Kandi Smith. I'm going to start with Maribel and I'm going to have them introduce their title and the organization that they are with.
Hello, my name is Maribel Galvan. I am Prevention Services Facilitator with Kern County Network for Children.
Hi, I'm Carl Coble, Program Manager and Supervisor for the Parents as Teachers program with Child Guidance Clinic.
Hi, I'm Kandi Smith from Clinica Sierra Vista. I'm Program Supervisor for Adolescent and Family Services.
Awesome. Thank you, all three of you guys, for joining us today. We are excited to have you. Like I mentioned before, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I think it's really important for us to talk about the programs here in Kern County that are not known about. I think there's so many things that our community doesn't know, the resources that they have in their back pocket that they could be using, right? So I'm going to start off with our first question. What is Parents as Teachers, and how do families get connected with this program?
Parents as Teachers is a national home visiting program. It was once selected out of 10 different programs to serve Kern County families beginning in June of 2022. It started as a pilot program in Central Kern and expanded to serve families in East Kern in 2023. And because there's a need for these services countywide. Parents as Teachers is a program that meets the criteria of being evidence-based, early childhood home visiting service delivery model. The families are referred to Parents as Teachers by Department of Human Services social workers, and the families are reached out by a parent educator. They're trained professionals that received 120 plus hours of curriculum training. The curriculum focuses on parent-child interaction, development-centered parenting, and family well-being. Parent educators focus on family strengths, capabilities, and skills, and building protective factors, complete developmental screenings, set goals with the family, and refer to community partners as needed. And also hold group connections, helping families value, build, sustain, and the use of social connections. This program helps families thrive, and children who are healthy, safe, and ready to learn by parent educators make regular personal home visits during a child's earliest years of life, from prenatal through kindergarten. The program provides a broad context of parenting education and family support that builds protective factors, especially for families in vulnerable situations. The services are offered voluntary and no charge to eligible families.
Okay, so for these eligible families, what does these at-home visits potentially look like?
So the visits potentially look like an hour to an hour and a half of visiting the parent educator, visiting the family, and the children are also involved, especially those that are 0 to 5 age group, and there's activities that are done with them. The parent educators bring activities to do with the children, that age-appropriate activities with them. So it could be toys, coloring with them, and just showing the parent how to take that time to read to the children and prepare them for school.
So it's kind of a younger group of kids then?
Yes, they are from 0 to kindergarten.
Okay, awesome. And going back a little bit, it seems like we know that there's 3 different organizations here. How do you guys work together to make this program happen?
Yes, so the organizations that participate in the success of the Parents as Teachers program is, of course, Parents as Teachers with their curriculum, Department of Human Services, Kern County Network for Children, and the two Parents as Teachers providers, which are Clinica Sierra Vista and Henrietta Wild Memorial Child Guidance Clinic. And I'd like to add that it's also with community partners, the Family Resource Centers. These organizations work together through collaboration, communication, geographically serving all of the Kern County eligible families.
Who are the people who are the boots on the ground? It's Clinica and the Child Guidance Center?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And so are they social workers? Who are these people that are going out to the houses?
So that would be the parent
The
educators.
parent educators.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what you call them. So it's just people specifically that are knowledgeable about the program and how to build protective factors? Or
Yes, correct. They learn about all this curriculum with their 120 average hours that they first train in this curriculum to be able to serve the families out in the community. And it's about the child development. It's about, checking the well-being of the children and also checking, are their immunizations up to date? Are they visiting with a doctor? What is needed? Are they up to date with physicals and so forth?
And how long has the program been implemented here in Kern County?
So in Kern County, it started in 2022.
Okay. Oh, so it's new.
It's
Okay,
brand new.
cool.
Mhm.
And have any of you guys been a part of these visits to the families? Yeah.
I've been part of the visits with
Yeah.
the families, yes.
Do you want to talk about, some of the things that you've seen in those visits that, like either the activities or maybe something that was really exciting to see, like progress or whatever with those families?
So one of the things that my parent educator comes up against is that families are embarrassed to get on the floor and play with their kids. So that's where the visit takes place, is the parent educator is on the floor teaching the parent to interact with the child on the floor. I feel like the parents they're just embarrassed to be interacting on the floor with their kids. And but my parent educator, one of the things that she says is they don't want to be on the floor. They sit on the couch while I'm on the floor with their kid. And after the first few visits, the parent will now get on the floor and be interacting, because it's a non-judgmental interaction that the parent educator has with the mom or the dad or both, that, hey, it's okay to be on the floor playing with your child. That's one of the things that I've noticed over time.
Yeah, it's, about meeting the kids where they're at, right? And being part of the play, right?
Yes.
And so do you guys teach them kind of the importance of play and all of that comes with development of children? Or?
Yeah, there's a component, it's development-centered parenting, and that's part of them getting on the floor and doing those developmentally appropriate activities. And another portion of the program is the parent-child interaction. We want them to interact with their children on the floor where their children are, and not watching from up on the couch.
Absolutely. And I know, Carl, you kind of seemed like you had something else that you wanted to share as well about the visits.
I've been on a number of them, right? Part of the standards that we're looking at with parents as teachers require us to go out to the home twice a year for the first year, and then once a year every year after that. So we hire typically bachelor level positions for our parent educators, or people who have some people have worked in a setting that would really lend towards them being good in these positions. So I've been out on a number of them, and they're amazing at what they do in, like you said, getting on the floor. There's lesson planning that we have, part of parents as teachers that I think makes it really strong and evidence-based is there's an extensive planning component to the visit. When you get hired, they actually tell you to partition an hour to prepare to go out. So it might look like we're playing and we're teaching them about healthy sleep or whatever, but there's a lot that went into that. And on the back end also, documenting all the work that they're doing.
Say you start this program at when your child is 1 to 2 years old, right? Do you follow the families until the child is kindergarten age, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's built for us to be with the family for up to 2 years.
Okay.
So we're also just going to go based on need, right?
Okay.
So a big piece of why we're doing this is because there's a high need and we're just jumping in to help. So I could foresee, we haven't been around long enough to see this, right?
That's true.
But if at 2 years somebody was still at significant need, right? I believe that we'd try to figure a way to provide that support. But there's also a big component of parents as teachers, which is our resource connecting. So we should be doing our job when it comes to, hey, you have a higher need than we can provide, or you need more extensive care than we can provide. Because a high need family for us, it's 2 visits each month. So we can go out more if needed, but typically that's the essential requirement is twice a month. So we have seen some families where it's twice a month, but they really benefit from family counseling. They really benefit from this sort of support, or some of those concrete supports, those community engagement supports. So we're always going to look at that. And if it's been 2 years and they're still requiring some care for us, we need to really kind of look back and see, did we do everything we can to connect them to everything, like you were saying earlier, that was available in the community?
Yeah.
There's so much available. It's just the knowledge, right? And the perseverance. Sometimes it's tough to get in, tough to engage.
Yeah.
We always want to support that.
And I do want to take a moment to recognize, our hope at the department and with our partners is that these families don't need our intervention at DHS. So all of these things, from differential response to this program, is trying to intervene on behalf of the family so that they don't need our services here as far as it comes to CPS, right? Because there are barriers that these families have, and they don't always need our intervention, specifically DHS. So I think that's why it's so important that we have our partners. And I know things like the Kern Network for Children has really brought so many of these organizations in one place to start working on these awesome programs. So it's great that while they're out there, they're not just thinking about what they're doing right then. They're also thinking about, you said, family counseling and all these other organizations that can help these families even after they're out of the program or while they're participating in it, right? I think we've a little bit covered how this program contributes to increasing parent knowledge in early childhood development. But I do want to talk about, what are those elements? Like, what are the things that specifically you check mark, like, we're going to teach the parents this, and this?
So this is something where, when I went through the training as well, mm-hmm. for parents as teachers to get certified. So the first 8 are the foundational visits. Okay. So everybody who's in our program gets those, and we actually try to offer those during those first 2 months weekly. Okay. So get a bunch of skills in, right? And those are kind of big areas, right? Parent-child interaction, things about safety, right? And then it's very flexible as you move forward based on family need. So even in those first 2 months, if there's one big concern, right? Because we're looking at the DHS referral, why did they come to us? And if it's like a neglect issue or a safety issue, right? We're really going to look at that, right, 10 times over before we get to something that might help them down the road, but they're not there yet, and it's not an imminent need, right? So yeah. We're definitely going to prioritize those needs. So I think that's how we pull into the visit what we're going to work on specifically that day, based on getting to know the family, understanding what they need and where they can grow the most and what's the most pressing need. We go in and prioritize that for sure.
How does this program prevent child abuse in families?
Unfortunately, the fruit of that abuse is families being disconnected, right? So that's our end goal, try to get families together. We're currently serving families that have been reunified, right? So they've already been removed and they've come back, and we want them to stay in the home. And then we also have the imminent risk families, right? The prevention families where they haven't been removed yet, but it's, right, a couple wrong moves and that's what's going to be the result. The way that we attempt to reduce child abuse is to give the family everything they need and all the tools that might benefit them in reducing child abuse. So part of that is knowledge, right? We have a lot of families that we're working with that are early 20s, bunch of kids, right? They didn't have time to learn how to, right, be a parent. I had a wonderful philosophy professor in college who said that everybody in high school should take a parenting class, because most of us are going to become parents and no one really teaches us how to become parents. We learn how to become parents, but oftentimes through family, culture, sometimes good examples, but oftentimes really bad examples. So when you're a child having a child, right? You skipped a step there. So we come in and provide that missing link when it comes to resource connection, right? We've one of the families we're working with recently that actually went on a visit. They have a history of substance abuse, so they ended up getting kind of relocated after a time in treatment, and now I'm in this new community. How do I get connected? Where are things? I don't even know where a grocery store is, let alone how to get right support and all. So we're gonna find those missing links to give them what they need and what may benefit them in reducing, right? And also part of that is that kind of like that protective factor is that resilience that we want to grow in the parents, right? That family well-being, which is what we call it in Parents as Teachers, so that they can de-escalate and cope. And when things are stressful, it doesn't come out in a way that's abusive. We find healthy ways.
So can you list those protective factors?
The way that we prevent child abuse and neglect is that, the more parents know about what to expect from their children, the less frustration and stress there's going to be on a daily basis. Yeah. So that's my elevator speech for the program. So we provide knowledge, like Carl said. So strengthening factors, the protective factors framework are a list of, there's 5 of them.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say that research studies support that if these are well established in families, the less likelihood child abuse and neglect will occur. Okay. The protective factors, they're conditions in families that are present, or when they're present, the health and the well-being of children and families is better. These attributes serve as buffers, and it's helping families find resources, support, and coping strategies that allow them to parent more effectively, even when they're under stress. So the first one, Carl said, parental resilience. And that is when a parent is strong for themselves, they're stronger for everybody else. So it's that ability to bounce back after a crisis.
I love that. Resilience.
Resilience. Yeah. They need resilience. If they're under constant stress, they're going to take that stress out on something in their life. Yeah. And that's will lead to more child abuse and neglect. The second one is knowledge of parenting and child development. It's because the parent is the child's first teacher. Parents as teachers, they're the first teacher.
There it is.
And having that accurate information, that's the key, is having accurate information about child development and appropriate expectations of the child's behavior at every age helps a parent to having those appropriate expectations. Helps parents see children and youth in a positive light. When they know what to expect, they're again under less stress. Social connections. A big part of Parents as Teachers is that group connections. We like to get those parents together so that they know that other people are going through the same thing that they're going through.
So you get you connect families with families?
Yeah. Every month there's a group connection of the families that are participating in the program. And then they're with people who are going through the same thing or similar things. So they understand each other and they know that they're not alone. And then it also gives the parent, the ability to give back. Because when we give back to people, we feel important. We feel like we're needed and
purpose.
You have a purpose. Like you make a friend in the group connection, and somebody needs a babysitter next week, and you can exchange those services. That's that huge component of the group connections. And then the concrete support in times of need. Carl talked about it. Everybody needs a little bit of help sometimes. And knowing where to go get that food box, knowing that we provide diapers for our families a lot because diapers are a big thing and they're really, really expensive.
Yes, they are.
Very expensive. And if your baby needs diapers, you're not going to take care of anything else. If you need toilet paper, that's going to be your main concern is getting that toilet paper. So what I like to say is we take care of those little things so they can focus on the big things as parents. And then social emotional competence of children is another protective factor. And that is, it's the child's ability to communicate effectively. When they communicate effectively, they feel more positive towards others. And the parent feels more positive about that child being able to socially connect with other people.
This is random, but have you guys seen the show Bluey at all?
Yes.
Okay. Because you're talking about this stuff and that show actually teaches parents how to parent. That's kind of the whole joke, but it's also the goal of that show. So if you haven't checked it out, you should. But it reminds me, like, they teach the kids in the show how to better communicate with their parents as well. After the families have completed the program, what is the goal? Like, what is the hope that these families have with them as they've left the program?
I would say that we hope that they take all the knowledge that we've given them with them and not ever have to be back in our program
Absolutely,
again.
yeah. The hope is that these families thrive, right? And I think one thing that comes to mind is generational trauma, right? And so the hope is that these parents leave this program and they understand that, you know, who they are, how they are influencing their children in every single way, right? And to be better than, you know, their parents. Not saying their parents were bad, but their parents didn't have the tools that they now have, right?
We work towards working ourselves out of a job. That's
exactly what I was gonna
I
say.
love that.
Our hope is that we work ourselves out of a job.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
yeah. I was gonna say, it comes from the therapy world, and that's what it's. You're trying to put yourself out of business.
Yeah.
You know, someone can come in for therapy or whatever, or even our educators can go into the home and really rely on them, right? We want to reduce that reliance. Henceforth, the concrete supports and the resource connecting. You know, if you need something, where do you go, right? And sometimes, you know, definitely as a therapist, but parent educators as well, we listen, we're empathetic, we validate, we're supportive, we're consistent. They like that. They like those attributes, right? We all like those attributes in other people. Yeah. So it's about finding that in the community, right? Yeah. Who is that person in your life that's dependable, reliable, supportive, encouraging, right? You should want that in your life, and we should be supporting families in seeking those characteristics in the people that they surround themselves with so that they can have that moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like thinking about my own life too. That's great. Are there any stories of families where you just saw progress? Maybe they were still in the program, but it just kind of that feeling of like, yes, this is working.
So yeah, there's been a number of successful stories, and a lot of them are very similar. The one that's kind of popping up this week that we've been kind of working on, and again, we all collaborate together, which is amazing, all these players at the table. But we just had a caregiver get a bunch of their children back.
No, that's awesome.
Right? So we're saying, okay, how do we rush in and support this? Right? Yeah. This is a big life change. There's a lot of things that happen now. When you go from not a lot of kids to a bunch of kids and you're a single parent, it can be very challenging. So that pressure is there to make sure everything's healthy, right? Things were really healthy without this. I mean, you've grown a lot to be able to have the kids come home, but how do you keep them in the home? So I think that for us, that's like a huge win, right? And we want them to be stable to maintain that, because the win isn't just getting them back. Yeah. The win is keeping them. That's, you know, we've had a number of families who actually were in part of our team, as well as we have court-ordered parenting classes. So some of the families definitely that are in the system in certain levels will be participating in classes. So they might be in classes and then they get into parents as teachers as well. So we see them really without the kids and really kind of distraught, and I'm willing to do everything I can to get them back. And then through all the resources and the engagement, you know, we have counseling that's adjunctive to the classes as well. So engaging in a bunch of resources together, and then eventually that happy story of receiving the kids back and continuing to grow. You know, we've had some families where we've had that conversation. Hey, let's touch base. You've been in the program for a while. You've learned a lot. You're doing great, right? What's left, right? What's needed? What are the gaps? And we always want to have that conversation to make sure that we're not missing anything. And then also to empower the family to say, you know what? I need this. I feel my confidence is low in understanding my child's development. My confidence is low in boundaries, consequences, consistency, whatever that is. We've actually had 2 families so far that have passed that 1 year. We started almost 2 years ago, but we started very slow, right? It's wild how much it has grown, and sooner or later we're going to have more of those families and then up to that 2-year mark for sure.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you guys to continue this program. I was wondering if you've ever felt like some of the families were very hesitant about the program at first.
Have I ever?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's a good testament to how valuable the program is that a lot of these families come in not wanting to do the program,
Yeah.
and then after a couple of months, they start looking forward to that visit,
Oh, good.
and they want to do more. I have a couple of families with my parent educator right now. They're doing weekly visits because they missed the beginning visits. They kept canceling and canceling. And now that they are used to her coming and seeing the value of what she's bringing to their family, they're willing to do weekly visits to make up the past visits, the ones that they've missed. So that's just a great testament to the value of the program.
Yeah.
I think I want to actually take a second to shout out all social workers, because
Yay.
we would not,
Yeah.
thank you so much, because our families would not be benefiting from the program if it wasn't for the referrals.
Yeah.
Huge collaborative process, right? We can't refer any families. Like I can't go on the street and say, hey,
Yeah.
you guys interested, right? We need that support from the social workers, and the management team, right, has been amazing. We've been getting the word out, presentations, trying to, right? We try to have very good communication with the social workers as well. And it looks like those efforts have been very fruitful, because now the referrals are coming in very consistently, and then we're able to help to support those families. But a piece of that as well is the social workers going in and orienting the family to the program. So before we speak with them, they're letting them know, hey, there's a program. It's parents, teachers. It's really aimed to help, because it's voluntary. It's voluntary.
Okay.
It's not court ordered. So, our classes and counseling that we have, those are court ordered, right? The judge says, hey, like, this is what you're going to do, right? For this, it's, hey, I think this would benefit you. We're going to actually go into your home twice a month. Very vulnerable, right? It's an in-home program. It's not, they don't come to the office, right? We're in the home helping families in that environment. So to get them engaged with that, sometimes it can be challenging. And I'll actually share a little, if I can, a little success story for that. So what we've done, we've had this culture now where if we reach out to a family in need and they say, you know what, I'm not interested, we say, okay, we're here if you need us, but before, if you want to be in the program or not, is there anything we can help you with? Is there anything that you're needing? But you know what, I do need diapers. You know what, I actually need some cleaning supplies. I need some hygiene. I need whatever that is. And just by the nature of that, they get to see a face. They get to feel an energy, right? They get to see our intentions. And that has actually led to some families, you know what, I'll work with you. Let's just try one. Yeah. And then you try one, and if you can get that initial interaction, we've seen families that have been with us,
That's awesome.
Following that.
Want to remind our audience, these resources are here. You don't have to feel shame. You don't have to feel bad about needing help, right? But these people allow you to come in and help. And when you're willing to get help, things will change for your family, right? So before we close out, I just want to talk about the future of Parents as Teachers. So what is the hope for this program?
I think the answer to that would be to strengthen the families, reduce maltreatment of children, right? That that all the children will learn to reach their full potential. Because I think Parents as Teachers is boots in the ground to help these families, in their parent interaction, and also with the children being prepared to go to school. I foresee that, these children are going to have that opportunity and are going to have that wealth of knowledge and be well prepared for school. And it's going to be an impact for the community. So that's what I foresee with Parents as Teachers, and I'm very proud of everybody that's involved, all the organizations, and, giving these families that hope that these parent educators give them. It's a wealth of resource, because now, it could be that they start with feeling depressed. Now they have someone that's following them and getting in touch with them and asking them, how is your day going? That empowers them. And that also empowers them in reaching out for services and welcoming, the resources that are provided to them. And with that, knowledge that they have, they will continue to know where to go in time of need and not let it lead to a crisis where there needs to be an intervention. It's like a toolbox for the families to get these services.
Do you know how many families have been in the program so far?
Yes, so there has been 44 for child guidance, and there's about 6 for Clinica Sierra Vista in East Kern.
And 5 more in the pipeline for our Mojave area office.
Oh, perfect. We talked about resiliency. What is some things that you have in your own life that you've implemented to help sustain your mental health and resiliency?
I camp.
Oh, that's awesome.
Camping is my even for the weekend, I go camping and just de-stress and forget about everything.
Beach or mountain?
Mountains.
Okay. What about you, Maribel?
For me, it's been both my boys have been playing ice hockey, so going to their games and also participating in, they love sports in general. So, anytime that we get to go out of town, either for a hockey tournament, a game, we take advantage of like getting to see what activities are going on, either sports or, just going out in nature. I love that. That's what keeps me
grounded. That's awesome.
I just see such a benefit in the basics, like prioritizing sleep, physical exercise, healthy eating. I remember when I started working as a therapist, I started out with a children's contract, and these kids would come in like, oh, they can't pay attention in school, they're misbehaving. Okay, what'd they have for breakfast? Hot Cheetos and a Red Bull. It's like, what? Like, of course, like, what do you expect? So I think that really the basics of how we treat our body is really going to impact. And I definitely feel an impact when making a choice in that way.
Consistency is good, and like having a good routine for sure.
Yeah. And then also you can't forget about positive thinking, gratitude. I think it's CBT. It says every emotion began as a thought.
Definitely. I just want to thank all of you guys for coming on the podcast today. As we go into Child Abuse Prevention Month, we just think it's so important to highlight our partners and our programs. And any of the social workers that are listening, you can head to, it's the Kern Network for Children website, correct? If they want to learn more about parents as teachers. And we can also provide Maribel's email if you guys want to get in contact with her. And I'm sure you'll hear more about this program because, once again, they rely on our social workers to point the families in the direction of this program so that they can benefit from it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am your co-host, Paola Hernandez, and welcome to today's Mindful Minute. We'll be talking about volunteering and how this could be a de-stressor. It's a little bit of a unique de-stressor, but I've seen that it helps reduce stress, and there's so many other positive things that come along with it. In a scientific journal, it says that it provides 3 things. It improves physical and mental health. It also provides a sense of purpose and teaches valuable skills. And 3, it nurtures new and existing relationships and helps you build that community. So go ahead and find a local volunteering opportunity near you. This has been your Mindful Minute.
Thank you for joining us for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast today. We hope you'll join us next time.